Hey, welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Show, a podcast where we talk about our favorite video games and all things pop culture with an emphasis on our favorites. We're your hosts, Jared and Mauro.
Hey, my name is Mauro. This is my voice. This is Mauro's voice that is attached to Mauro.
And today's episode is on Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Black Flag is a 2013 action-adventure video game developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. The story is set in the West Indies during the golden age of piracy from 1715 to 1722 and follows notorious Welsh pirate Ed Kenway as he searches for fortune in a mythical location called the Observatory, which is sought by both assassins and Templars. Let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at Razzle Dazzle Show, on TikTok at Razzle_Dazzle_Show, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Raz_Daz_Pod. And with all that being said, it's Razzle Dazzle time! Let's zen, let's be on our merry way, sail the seven seas.
Hoist. No, wait, is it Hoist or?
Hoist the mainsails.
Hoist the Mains. I just played it. I just played it today. Literally today, this morning, I just played it. And I went through all of the like speeds so I could get all of the ones that, you know, it's like at half speed, it's like half mast or something. And then out of all it says something else as well. And now I'm blanking on all of them.
I got
brace yourselves.
I'm trying to see if they're like orders I can find online. Cause out orders.
It's okay. So like whenever okay, it's the following. It's captain's at the helm whenever you grab the thing. Yeah. Adewale always says that, some variation of that. And then it's half mast. No, he says a specific thing, dude. And then it's like all sails, like full sail is just like all sails. Give me all sails.
Why is it so hard to find?
I don't think you're gonna find that specific thing. I mean, you could look up Edward Kenway.
Oh, smart.
Kenway lines, I guess. Voice lines. Jackdaw.
There's quotes.
Can we talk about Jackdaw for a second though? While we're looking for this.
Let me look.
Well, yeah.
A picture of
the bird, the name of the ship, and how well it fits.
It's a little blackbird.
It's a little black bird, yeah. In game, Edward named the ship the Jackdaw because I think he just says that it's like a bird that he had as a kid or something. But
wasn't it like around? Not did he have one, or was it like a common bird that he saw?
Or maybe I don't know. He says the exact quote is like, "For a sly bird I loved as a child back in Swansea." So it could be that he had one, or he like saw one out his window, or you know. Right. But in the game, there's a point where when Edward is having like these drunken deliriums, where he hears he hears Woodes Rogers talking about Aesop's fables, and there's a specific one about the jackdaw and the eagle, where you know and this is a real fable where essentially a jackdaw is like out in the fields and he sees an eagle swoop a sheep off, just grab it with its talons and swoop it up into the sky. Yeah. And then the jackdaw is like, oh, okay, maybe I can do that. So it goes and it grabs onto a sheep, and then it starts flapping its wings and trying to lift it off. And it's flapping so hard it can't do it. The sheep doesn't even realize it's there, and it gets stuck. And then a farmer comes by and sees it stuck there, clips its wings, and takes it to the children. And when he shows it to the children, when he shows the jackdaw to the children, the kids are like, hey, Papa, what is that? And the farmer goes, oh, this is a jackdaw, but if you were to ask it, it would claim to be an eagle. And I thought that was very poignant because the entire theme of the game is that Edward is not, the eagles are, you know, the symbol of the assassins, and Edward is an assassin for the majority of the game.
Oh, you just blew my mind a little. Right. I didn't put that together.
No, it's a really good thematic string that they have throughout. I mean, you don't really. I didn't put the pieces together either until like a couple of playthroughs in, because I always heard this guy like saying that line during Edward's like drunken dream, but I was never really paying attention because I was like, in the dream you have to do something. You have to
kill the guy. What's his name?
Yeah, like Woodes Rogers.
Is Rogers his name?
Woodes Rogers. He's the dude with the scar on his face who came to Nassau and and like just shut down the Pirate Republic.
The
Historically
sage,
accurate,
the
by the way.
sage, or whatever.
No, that's Roberts.
Robert, isn't that who you're trying to kill in that sequence?
I think at 2 separate times.
Oh, okay.
Because like when I don't know, when Edward is drunk and he's having like this delirium.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a. Oh no, wait. You know what? Maybe you are. Yeah. You are. You're right. No, you're right. You're trying to kill Roberts, but Woods Rogers, is in the middle of the thing talking, and he's giving this speech about the Aesop's Fable. No, you're right. It's been a minute since I played that particular one. I started Assassin's Creed 4 again, I believe last week in preparation for this episode, and I like after I think like the diving for medicines things, I stopped because after that it just stops being about pirates and becomes about assassins, and that's always my least favorite part of the game. I don't know. It's
the assassins part.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm kind of the opposite on how I feel about that stuff. Because before, like right after that point is when things start actually, for me, getting interesting and like, oh, okay, here's the plot. Remember the plot? Like, remember the observatory and all that stuff? Players, now we're going to do stuff about it. Everything else is just like setting pieces, setting this. I don't even know. It's like, it's cool to do. You know what it is? You know what it is?
What is it?
It's just an excuse. All those missions beforehand is just an excuse to teach you the new mechanics that Black Flag brings in compared to the last 5-6 games.
I will not disagree. I won't disagree.
Because for that medicine, specifically, you have to buy the diving bell. Yes. If you don't have enough money, you can't progress in the game. So you need to buy it, and then you need to go through a tutorial section, teaching you how to use it.
They should have done that way earlier in the game. That's yeah.
Oh.
The thing about this particular game is that when it came out, when the trailers came out, I myself and as well as a lot of people that I saw in the comments assumed that the game would have been about an assassin who uses the pirates as a cover, right? Essentially.
Interesting.
And that would have made sense, right? That's what I thought when I saw the trailers. If you look at the trailer for Assassin's Creed 4, the E3 trailer, it gives you this sense that Edward is just kind of like an assassin. Like this is this mysterious guy with things going on, and he's partaking in the pirate lifestyle because it suits his ends, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it's the complete opposite. He's literally just a pirate. He's a guy. He's just a dude who just so happened to get involved with the Templars and then by extension the Assassins.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't even join until like the very end.
The very end.
All
the very last mission.
Yeah, you're not an assassin. I think this is the one game in the series, minus Origins, I guess, but Origins is kind of about you becoming an assassin, where you're not an assassin for the majority of the game.
And people complain about 3.
And people complain about 3, about how long it took. Come on.
Speaking of, the week before, it was our episode on the first 5, technically 3 Assassin's Creed games. This is one of the very few times where we release multiple episodes of a series within like a span, like basically right after each other. I'm not counting Delta. Like,
no, of course.
You know what I mean?
Topics. That's right, huh?
So, yay. If you haven't checked
milestone.
Yeah, right? If you guys haven't listened to our first episode on the Assassin's Creed series, go check it out and then come back or just stay here. I don't care. Do whatever you want. I'm not your mom.
You can always just pause, go back, and then once you're done, you resume from exactly where you left off here.
Hey, welcome back, audience. What'd you think of Assassin's Creed 1 through 3? If you liked it, go back, leave a comment or whatever.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
How come you dedicated 1 episode to 5 games and then the next episode to just 1 game?
I think the reason is because this is your favorite game.
It is my favorite game in the Assassin's Creed
series.
Box. In the box of Assassin's Creed games. Armory? No, what's the word? There's a whatever. It's my favorite in the
Armada?
lineup. Let's call it a lineup. Armada? Let's call it a lineup. In the fleet of Assassin's Creed games, this is the flagship. For me at least, thank you. Yeah. It took me a while, but I got there. And it's not because I know I said before that the Assassin's Creed stuff is my least favorite part, And it's not because I dislike it. I just felt like Ubisoft could have done more with it. It's very interesting to have this story about a person, a sage, that is reincarnated every couple of years and will always, no matter how many times he dies, he will always come back. And that person is the one key to this ancient thing in the Caribbean that has existed for millennia and will continue to exist, that has the power to just essentially follow people around. And the situation with the Assassins and the Templars, this was the game following Assassin's Creed 3, which was the first game that posed the question, well, what if all the Templars aren't exactly bad? Right? This game kind of doubled down on that because it did show you people like the Cuban governor, Torres, who, even though he is a Templar, he is opposed to slavery. Right? There was a mission where he's talking with this guy, Lawrence Prince.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, where he's talking about how slavery in the long run doesn't benefit anybody. You can break somebody's body, but you can't break somebody's mind. And Lawrence is just talking about how no, it's profitable, it doesn't matter, and he's telling you about how it's like no, like you need to. Well, I mean, it's for the time period. He's like, you need to convert these people into Christianity. You can't just have them, like being slaves all this time. There's no real moral profit in this. And then you have others like Ducat. No, was it Ducasse? Ducasse is like the French guy that you kill at the very beginning, who is just he has very little screen time, but he says something to Edward where he's like, is petty theft the extent of your ambition? Like this is all you do? You just kill and steal? Like, don't you understand what we're trying to do? We're trying to bring the world together. We're trying to make everybody safe. And obviously enslaving everybody's mind and keeping an eye on everybody while you rule the world essentially isn't everybody's idea of keeping the world safe. But for them, it makes sense. For them, it's like, okay, we understand how the world is supposed to be, and we can stop crime from even happening if we do this. Whereas the assassins are the complete opposite. They're like, no, personal freedoms overall. Everybody has the right to make their own choices in life, and anybody who seeks to stop them from doing that is just controlling. So it poses a lot of ideological discussion there, a lot more than previous games, especially the first couple, where it's just like Templar's bad, Assassin's good, period.
Right.
And it just kind of like that's what I mean when I say Ubisoft could have done a lot more. If they zeroed in on that, and that would have been, in my opinion, pretty good. I mean, they had the chance to do that with the father of Haytham, a Templar, and the grandfather of Connor, an assassin. This could have been the guy that like bridged the gaps. Instead, he was just a Joe everybody, just caught in the middle.
Yeah, I would think like the pacing too of the story is kind of weird. I think the pacing in all Assassin's Creed games up until this point is kind of weird. Like it's first fast, then super slow, and then fast towards the end. That seems to be like the pattern.
I don't know why they do that. A lot of it comes from them. It looks like they want to take their time with their games at first. And at first it really gives you that impression. I mean, it takes a long time, missions, plural, before the title screen even shows up in a lot of these.
Yeah.
But then it feels like they kind of like run out of time. So they just have to rush the ending. I don't know, but that is a pattern that I have noticed. You're absolutely right in Assassin's Creed games. Also a lot of time jumping too.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that you can get away with that, especially if like, you're a person in the present just going back and choosing what time periods or what years you want to go to, I guess.
That's another thing. The modern day segment kind of gives them a little leeway with a lot of these things. But I wish it didn't. I wish they didn't have that to fall back on.
Yeah, I agree.
They can just. I don't mind a story that takes place over the course of several years.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, okay, so at first it's Edward and his pirate friends. When he gets to Nassau, it's him and his pirate friends just pirating around, getting money, building up Nassau, so to speak, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Then James Kidd introduces Edward to the assassins, and then at the very beginning of that sequence, it says 1716. So it's 1716. I think it said March 1716, early 1716. He says, come meet me at this place. He goes there, meets the assassins, and he learns everything about them. He actually fights the Templars a little bit, and then he learns about the assassin's contracts and stuff like that. And then the next mission, after you're done with those sequences, is in Nassau. Granted, it just said that it was March 1716. You go to Nassau, a cutscene starts immediately, and it says January 1717.
Yeah, I noticed that at the end of missions, like there's this one mission, I think after the medicine stuff with Blackbeard, he tells you to meet him at this place in 2 months or whatever. You go there, just like within 10 minutes, and yeah, it's 2 months later. It's weird. There's time skips within.
What was Edward doing during this time?
It just took us like 15 minutes to sail from one place to another. Very, instant with skip travel, fast travel, or whatever.
Yeah.
You're telling me that took 2 months? It's weird.
It is weird. It feels like, in a lot of ways, it feels like an unfinished game. It feels like there are things that they wanted to implement that they didn't. And I mean that specifically when you look at other games, even previous ones, and the amount of side content that they had. Assassin's Creed 4 seems a little lacking. It has a lot of things to do in the world, but I mean side missions, and I mean side missions like with cutscenes and stuff, like the way that Assassin's Creed 3 had and Assassin's Creed 2 had. It's like they're barely existent. You have the assassin contracts, which are just you open a thing, read the thing, kill the guy, it's over, you get some money. And there are also a couple of missions that are to get the keys to unlock this suit.
Oh, right.
In the mansion. Yeah. I don't know if you did those, but yeah, well, there's no incentive to do them.
The reason why I didn't do
about that costume.
Any of the side stuff is because we were originally supposed to record this like 2 weeks ago, and I only had 2 weeks to play it. So I beat it the day before we were supposed to record originally. Like I beat the story because I was trying to get through the story.
Yes. The important part.
Yeah. But whose suit is that? Is that Ezio's?
No. It's not even an assassin. It is a Templar suit. I did get it, and it looks okay. It's just a Templar suit. It doesn't tell you where it came from. It's just a suit. It's just another, essentially, the missions are boring. The characters are kind of not really
interesting.
Engaging. It doesn't connect to the overall story at all. And then when you actually do get the costume, it's just another costume.
Right.
Like, I like Edward's costume as it is, whatever.
I made sure to like early on, as soon as I could, get the his black and red costume.
Oh, that one was cool. That was actually really cool.
It was like 8,000 reals.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
It is. The economy's kind of weird in that game, dude.
Very.
Ship upgrades cost thousands of reales plus metal and wood and cloth and all that stuff.
Which
every time you attack a ship, things like that. Like every time you attack a ship, it has like some of what you need, and then like 50 rum that you can sell for like a couple hundred reales. Like you have to do a lot of pirating.
Yes.
You have to do a lot of pirating. Yeah.
Especially when you get to the higher numbers of upgrades, like over 100,000 reals and stuff like that. It's a lot. Absolutely. It's a lot. I upgraded the Jackdaw as much as I needed to beat the game, but I didn't even start upgrading it till like halfway through.
No, it's fair. You could really just get through a lot of it without having to, and then suddenly it's like, okay, well now you're fighting 2 frigates and a man of war. Now you need to.
Yeah. Oh my god, that one mission I think it's the last mission. You're supposed to go back to the observatory, but there's these 2 men of wars blocking your way to the dock or whatever. That kicked my ass for the longest time. I had to like isolate them, and then there's that fort like not too far away, so you gotta like be careful of how far you go.
Right, the forts.
Oh my god.
See, something I know it's annoying. I know it is very annoying, but something that I really liked about the game was how the open world works really well. In my opinion,
it's great.
It was amazing. You're trying to go somewhere, and you can either run into a Spanish ship or an English ship or other pirate ships sometimes that are your allies, and then you can run into forts, and sometimes you'll come in the way of an English ship and a Spanish ship attacking each other, but then you're in Spanish waters, so the Spanish ship is hostile to you, but the English ship isn't hostile to you.
Yeah.
So you're fighting the Spanish ship, and the English ship is fighting the Spanish ship too, and then it's like
and if you hit the English ship, it's attacking you now.
Exactly. Suddenly it's very engaging, and I like how random the events can be. Sometimes it's very chaotic, especially when you like, get a little bit too close to a fort, and then that just starts bombarding you. But if you take over a fort and you're fighting somebody near it, that fort will actually attack the ship that you're attacking. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's pretty good. It's I love the way they did the open world. Yeah, that like being on the ship is it's fun. It's super fun.
It's the best part of the game.
It's the best part of the game.
It's like I love the concept of assassinating people. Like, being an assassin is sick, right? In its own right. You're like one step closer to being a ninja or whatever.
Something like that. Very close, yeah.
One step close to being Batman. Not exactly, but you know what I mean.
Sometimes you feel like Batman, honestly.
But with this game, of course, it didn't introduce the naval combat. That was 3, but it's the main main mechanic of the game. It is the best part of the game, hands down. Just sailing around, listening to sea shanties and blowing shit up, right? Like, it's the most fun. Like, being a pirate is more fun than being an assassin.
In this game, yes.
In this game.
It definitely perfected the sea naval combat system.
Yeah, I can't think of another game that does pirate stuff as good as this game does. And this game came out, what?
2013 or 14, I believe.
2013? We got Sea of Thieves that came out a few years after that, and that game sucks.
It's not. I mean, it's like a co-op game.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't really work. Not in this way. You can't just sit down and be a pirate. Mm-hmm. You can't have. You feel like the Jackdaw is like almost a player in and of itself.
Yep.
You feel like you are controlling this ship, and you have to adjust the trajectory of the cannonballs and fire it and stuff. Yeah. And when you miss, the crew members also like get upset. They're like, miss, damn it, the rigging's wrong.
We'll get it next time, Captain.
We'll get it next time. It's fun though. It's fun. It's really
very fun.
And this is why I feel like Ubisoft should have jumped on one. Okay, forgive the pun, but you should have jumped on one ship or the other. Okay, you should have made an Assassin's Creed game, or you should have made a pirate game. But trying to conflate the two left both sides kind of missing something. Yeah. Because, in my opinion, right, like I said, the Assassin's Creed stuff is my least favorite part. But that's because I wanted so much more from the pirate stuff. I enjoyed Nassau. Just whenever it showed up in the cutscenes, whether it was daytime or it was nighttime, just the aesthetic of the palm trees and the taverns and the pirates and their pirate gear and stuff, seeing Blackbeard, seeing Charles Vane, seeing Edward, seeing the rest, Calico Jack, all of them, it gave me this air of like, okay, this is what pirates were like. This is what pirates are supposed to look like, Yeah. And I enjoyed the characters, even though I felt like they had too little screen time. Benjamin Hornigold from the beginning was kind of like, just not really part of he was there. He was kind of mentoring Edward, but then he didn't show up for a lot of the game. So when he switched and he became a Templar, it hurt Edward, but it didn't really hurt me a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
I felt like if they had given some more time to his character and fleshed him out a little bit more, this would have been like an actual betrayal. Same thing with Charles Vane. He shows up, and Calico Jack, they show up. They're kind of like there for 2 cutscenes, and then afterwards, you're marooned. Like, Calico Jack steals your ship, and then Charles Vane is marooned in an island with you. And it's like, well, I didn't really get a chance to know these characters. Mm-hmm. Blackbeard is, I think, the one character out of all of them that isn't like Edward or Adewale that is developed the best, because he gets the most screen time,
and because he's a legend.
And because he's a legend, yes.
Like, there's that celebrity stuff, like
they didn't lean too heavily on the Blackbeard stuff. Instead, they kind of really had him talk about how, it's all a big show. He literally tells Edward, like, it's all a big show, you know, like you have, I grew out the beard, you know, I put the fuses underneath my thing, you know, you got to act angry in front of them so that they'll just give you stuff. And that's kind of what Blackbeard was in real life too. He was there isn't a whole lot of documentation of him actually killing people. It was mostly just people being like, oh dude, I'm so afraid of this guy with like long beard and lice infested hair and like the fuses that are lit coming out of his hat. It's, you know, it's that's how he got people to give him their stuff without having to actually fight.
Yeah.
But all of these characters at the very end, when Edward sees like the ghosts of all of his friends that have died on that table, only now, because I've played the game so many times, that I genuinely like feel like a connection to these characters and I feel Edward's sadness. But back then when I first played it, some of those characters I couldn't even recognize.
Yeah, you asked me when I was starting how I felt about his friends, about Edward's friends, and I told you I don't give two rats ass about them. And that kind of still stands. Again, I've only played the game once, but like you said, you hardly even recognize any of them. You said their names. I didn't recognize their names except for Blackbeard and James and that's it. That's all I remember. Everybody else, you tell me what they did or you tell me their title. Okay, yeah, I can follow like you did.
Right.
If you didn't say that, I wouldn't know. I didn't care about them. We got like 1 or 2 missions with each of them. The betrayal, I didn't care about it. They're pirates. I mean, it's kind of expected. The being stranded on an island, okay. That didn't do anything for me. It didn't add anything to like the game. I don't think it added much to Edward's character. And then like right after that, there's a jackdaw again, and all his crew is back, and he's not mad, and you know, like what? That doesn't make sense to me either. Like it's a lot of, I think a lot of actions and their consequences ultimately don't matter to me as a player. But even if they do have a significant consequence to like the life of Edward, I'm still not all there. And I tried my best to like be Edward, I guess. You know, I tried my best to you know, connect with him in any way I could, but I think a part of the big disconnect with me in the game is like these games, because of the plot, because of the storytelling, they put a lot on you and they don't ever let up. And now like here's a lot of important exposition stuff, Templars, assassins, future past, ancient alien stuff, boom, right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Few missions in, okay, let's take a break from that and let's just do some meaningless stuff so you can get to know these characters for like a little bit. You get like 1 mission with them. You get to know who they are in terms of name and like kind of what they do. Cool. Ready? Let's go. All right. You've done missions with all, what, 6? 5? How many are there?
6.
6? That's a lot. That's a lot of people. So that's 6, maybe even 12 missions if we're giving 2 for each. I don't remember exactly. And that's not a lot of time for me.
Some of the missions were conflated with the characters, like a lot.
Yeah.
So Charles Vane and Calico Jack, Charles Vane is the very angry one that you get marooned with,
right? And
Calico Jack is the drunk one that steals your ship. They were always together in those missions. So you have like 2 missions with each of them. No. You have 2 missions with both of them. Yeah. And the last one, you know, is the one where you get betrayed and marooned, and then before that they show up in like 2 cutscenes, maybe.
It doesn't do anything for me. I don't. Oh, like I was saying, it's there's too much going on, yet there's not enough.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like I still don't care about anybody.
That's the essence of when you try to do 2 things at once. If they had simply done a pirate game, like they tried and failed now with Skull and Bones. Yikes. This was Skull and Bones is a game that had been in active development since, I believe, 2015, 2016. It was supposed to come out in 2018 or 19, and then in 2020, and then in 22, and it just came out this year.
It did in February.
It did. And I played the beta, not a huge fan. And if you look at the reviews, the rest of the world is not a huge fan either.
7 out of 10, 59%.
7 out of 10 is generous in my opinion, but essentially it's because they leaned too much into the it's just a multiplayer game, whatever. I think Singapore is remaking Ubisoft Singapore is remaking Assassin's Creed 4 because they don't want to lose all their assets. However, they want to make money. They want to make money, and they want to get their money's worth from these assets. They thought that Skull and Bones was going to be it, and it wasn't that.
That's a whole nother conversation too. Just like, why are so many video games, AAA titles, or AAA companies and publishers and developers, the multiplayer aspect, you don't always need multiplayer. I think within the past 10 years, there are great multiplayer games, but that you don't need multiplayer to make a good game.
No, you do need multiplayer though to justify the amount of microtransactions.
That's true.
They want to throw at you in order to make the game profitable, which I noticed in the beta.
And Black Flag is kind of no different. It has a multiplayer of its own.
It does have a multiplayer. I touched it once or twice. It's not great. It's not great. It's not great.
But yeah, characters and story.
But like I was saying before, if they had simply focused on the assassin stuff, that would have been its own thing. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
If they had only focused on the pirate stuff, though, there would have been more time to actually get to know these characters. There would have been more time to tell an engaging story, because on the surface, it is an engaging story.
Yeah.
Edward Kenway is a man plagued by both idleness and an insatiable sense of, I should be up here, all the way up here. I want to have all of the money. I want to have all of the wealth. I want to have all of the status, and I want my wife to see me as this man of promise.
Yeah.
You got a lot of flashbacks of him just coming home drunkenly and his wife being like, what, like, why won't you just, get a regular job? And he's like, no, I'm going to become a privateer and I'm going to be super rich. And then, he's essentially chasing the observatory throughout the entire game, specifically for that end.
Yeah.
Not because he wants to help the assassins, not because he wants to foil the Templars, but because he wants to sell it and get rich. His friends, Edward, he's Edward Thatch, Blackbeard, Benjamin, Adewale, James Kidd, even Mary, right? They're all telling him, either telling him, hey, this is a fantasy, you should live in the real world, or hey, if you're going to be chasing the observatory, you might as well do some good, right? You should go ahead and help the assassins. And he's just ignoring them all throughout the entire time. And then as the game goes on, he loses the respect of Adewale. He loses his friend Benjamin Hornigold to the Templars. He loses Nassau to the British. He loses Blackbeard. Calico Jack and Charles Vane also die. Mary Reed dies.
Kid dies.
Kid dies like in his arms, literally. And it's just, he even at the very end of it, he loses Adewale. Adewale is like, listen, I'm gonna go with the assassins. I can't be next to somebody who's so motivated by selfishness and desire. And then he leaves too. And in that moment, I remember, because he gave you back your ship after your drunken stupor, I remember getting back on the ship, and all of the NPC crewmen, they cheered and stuff, right? Like they cheer whenever you get onto the thing. But then I remember thinking, wow, I've never been surrounded by so many people yet felt so alone.
Yeah.
And at that point, Edward had lost everybody he cared about, and he made a choice. He went back to the assassins thing. He's like, you know what? Like I need to make a change in my life. I'm going to help you guys. And then that sets, the tone for the ending. That sounds like a really interesting story, but the execution, it was just kind of not there. I mean, I got to the assassins thing, and then Adewale is like, oh, look at this, Edward. The damage you caused 6 years ago is still being done. And I'm like, it's been 6 years? What?
Right?
It's been 6 years?
Yeah.
Blackbeard's death hit me just because of how poignant it was. But everything else, it didn't hit me until much later. Like today, it'll hit me. Today, Charles Vane going insane on the island, that kind of makes sense. But back when I first played it, I'm like, okay, well, he was always like this, right?
Yeah.
He was always like this.
Yeah.
James Kidd revealing himself to be a her, and then you don't really see her anymore until you have to rescue her from prison. And it's like, how, well, I mean, like, did Edward and her have like a friendship, or was this just somebody you ran into every couple of years?
Even Edward was confused about that until like she died. Remember, like,
Yeah.
he asked, what's her name? What's the redhead? Is that Mary?
And Bonnie.
And Bonnie. Yeah, he asked her, like, God, I hope, you know, we were cool or whatever the he said. He didn't say that.
No, but that's essentially like, I hope she, I don't know, like, yeah, like, I hope she saw me as a friend or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like, I hope we were good, right?
And then Anne was like, no, she thought the world of you, man.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're an asshole.
How are we to know, right?
Yeah, we didn't know. It was just like all of a sudden, like, here's this guy who, you know, is just trying to be cool with you. Okay, why? He's an asshole. Everybody else doesn't like him. Why do you? And also, the reveal didn't do anything either. I mean, I'm sure that's the actual person, like the actual
right, yeah.
real character. To see that, that's great. But like, there was no like emotional stake or the impact. It fell flat because there's nothing to like cushion the landing for.
The reason this game is one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, we just been shitting on it.
I know, but this is, I shit on things that I love because I feel like they could be great when they're not. So I am just quick little side note. I love Bethesda. I love Fallout. I love Elder Scrolls. I will go down the list of all of the flaws they have before I start praising these games. That's just me. And it's the same thing that I did with Assassin's Creed 4. I love this game so much because it is actually one of my favorite games. Like, I think maybe let's say top 10. You know?
Okay.
I don't think top 5, but let's say top 10. Only because I've played it multiple times. And throughout multiple playthroughs, you get a lot that you don't get in the first time. You don't know any of these characters' names. Like, if I were to tell you who's like Julian Ducasse, right? Like, I think I mentioned him earlier on today, but
you
no.
did. I don't like.
Exactly. It's the French Templar. Maybe sometimes even telling you the French Templar, you might not even know who I'm talking about. But because I've played this game so many times, you get a lot more. You get all of the conversations that they're having with you while you're playing. Because, for example, when you get to Nassau and Benjamin Hornigold, the one who turns Templar, goes ahead and he tells Edward, oh, you got yourself a fancy new brig. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to teach you how to sail her right. And that's the end of the cutscene. But then as you're like on the, you know, like playing the game, he's right next to you and he's talking to you. Now, the first time I played that, I wasn't paying attention to anything he said. I was figuring out the controls. I was like too busy getting chased by ships and stuff. But on my like 5th or 6th playthrough, where I could just play this thing, you know, with my eyes closed, I was listening to what he was saying, and they're having more conversations. They're talking about Edward's like goals. He's telling Edward, hey, you know, like there's a big difference between sailing a ship, like, you know, like participating in a raid and leading one. And then same thing with whenever Blackbeard is with you, you know, like when you're on the Queen Anne's Revenge, Edward Blackbeard's big ship, you know, the man of war that he had, that you piloted for like one mission. He's telling you about how like he's fighting a lot with Benjamin Hornigold and how Nassau isn't turning out the way that he wanted it to be and how he's a little bit disillusioned. So later on in the cutscene where he's like, yeah, I'm not going back to Nassau. I think I'm going to retire. The first time that came out of nowhere. The second time I played that game, I already saw the hints in the missions before because he's talking to you in gameplay. How much more impactful would this have been if these were all cutscenes, if these were all things that you get in the game and not while you're trying to figure out whether or not this man of war is coming to you or like how to shoot the thing, you know, like. I
100% agree. I think that's a big problem with the series up until this point. Like you just reminded me about that, and you said exactly what I would have said. So I'm not going to repeat it, but it happens more than just on the ship. Like there is a pattern between every mission. There's go to this place, talk to this guy, start the mission. Now you got to follow people to this location, not be seen or just follow, and then cutscene, and then you start pirating or an assassin stealth section. Either one, but it's always that same pattern. Now, when you're following people, like there's this one mission I remember specifically where you're somewhere in Nassau and you talk to someone. Now you gotta follow Blackbeard and this other dude. I don't know who it is, probably Hornigold.
It was Benjamin, yeah, it was Hornigold.
Yeah,
right.
You had to follow them to the beach, and I wasn't paying attention to at all what they're saying because I'm just moving. Like, I'm just paying attention. I'm moving. Oh, I see like some collectibles. I'm going to get them, you know, because they're not going to go anywhere if I go too far.
No, exactly.
I'm paying attention to other things, and then they're saying important things. Same thing with the talking on the ship. I'm not listening. Right now, for the first time player, I can only focus on this one thing. I'm sorry, but like that's just how it is. So it's
funny. It's funny that
weird.
You mentioned that because they were talking about very important things. That was the conversation where they mentioned, hey, so there is a pardon going around. Mm-hmm. It looks like they're gonna, come by here, and also there's a big sickness going around in Nassau. Everybody's sick, and we need medicines. If you're not paying attention when they're giving you this information. Why do you feel like afterwards you're like, okay, so suddenly I gotta buy a diving bell?
Yeah.
And then
for what?
Why do I have to buy this diving bell? What happened?
We're getting medicine? Why? Like, I understand that
this information they should have given you in a cutscene, and not just the third time that Benjamin Hornigold shows up in cutscenes, because this is literally the third time he shows up in a cutscene. He shows up at the beginning when you first arrive in Nassau. Then he shows up a second time in like the mission following that one where he's teaching you how to pilot the ship, and then he shows up at the end of that mission too. But then you don't see him at all again.
Yep.
Until 17-18 January, you're sitting there and they're talking about the pardon and the medicines. Third time he shows up. This is one of the leading figureheads of Nassau. This is one of Edward's closest friends. Third time he shows up in the cutscene. You didn't even know his name. You didn't even know that it was him. You had an inkling that it was him. Come on. This game should have been what... No, I mean...
But also, there's the complaint of, like, if there's too many cutscenes, then the game is taking you out of the immersion. But it's not just
cutscenes. It's not just cutscenes. It's... I mean, you know who Achilles is, right? From Assassin's Creed 3, because he's constantly in the homestead. Mm-hmm. He's in a lot of... He's the guy that teaches Connor how to be an assassin, and he's constantly in the homestead. He shows up in a couple of cutscenes, in a couple of missions, but he's constantly there.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't like skip around. You don't like see him in 2 cutscenes and then you play an entire different aspect of the game, and then you just come back and suddenly he's like, I have arthritis. No, he's had arthritis from the beginning, and you can see that he has it. And then he's also there in the homestead, and sometimes you can walk in there and like play chess with him or something.
Yeah,
games with him. It's fun. He's there. He's a presence in the homestead, and all of the side homestead missions, which are completely optional, by the way. He's present in them, and you talk to him in a lot of them and stuff like that. So he's a presence there. There are no, I just came back to Nassau after finishing a main mission. What do I got to do besides getting these collectibles? Another main mission? How about, hey, I show up to this thing and it's like, hey, dude, like all of these pirates are really like in bad spirits. We need to collect some rum. Hornigold says to you, it's like, let's go, let's go do this. And there's like a little side activity where you go out there and then you get the rum and you come back, and then now you like a lot of these pirates are more willing to go out and pirate. So you go out and there's like a less of a British presence in the waters or something like that,
Yep.
Mechanic, introduce one, maybe. No, it's fine.
Introduce one that matters.
That matters, please. Collectibles are fun and all that, but this game came out in 2013. This is not the type of game that this should have been. For comparison, the very next year, The Last of Us came out. And I know they're 2 very different games, right?
Yeah.
But the Last of Us, I mean, if you put them side by side, graphics-wise, The Last of Us blows Assassin's Creed 4 out of the water. And The Last of Us is a story-driven game, so I can't really compare them in that sense.
Right.
But just with the amount of care that was put into The Last of Us, if you compare that, just that alone, with Assassin's Creed 4, it's a game I wish had more time in the oven and more care put into it.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why there's a lot of side stuff, a lot of buried treasure to find, like scattered everywhere in the Caribbean. But like, because you're a pirate, you're supposed to do those things. I get it. But I think so. Too much of one thing is a bad thing.
Too little of one thing is a bad
That
thing.
too. So like, there's a balance. So I don't know if I want to say too much freedom or freedom in the sense of not that it's a bad thing. It's an open world. I love that. That is part of like the draw of it. Freedom in the sense of like, there's a lot, but not everything matters.
Yeah. No. I understand. I completely agree. Once you get to Nassau, hell, even before you get to Nassau, once you get your ship, the entire ocean, the entire map opens up to you.
Yeah.
And you can do whatever you want. You could go anywhere. No restrictions. There are some places that are marked as harder. So the game tells you, hey, maybe you should avoid these areas right now, but there's nothing actually stopping you from going there. You can maneuver your way around the forts and avoid the ships because you are faster than a lot of them, and just hop on all of these islands and do all of these things and get all of the synchronized viewpoints and hop up all of the treasures. But why do I want to do that? It's just like after
just to check things off a list.
Exactly. There should have been more of a draw. There should have been something like, okay, well, maybe there's like after like the 5th or 6th island that I went to, that I synchronized it, and then I saw all of the animus fragments and all of the things in the map, I was a little bored because I'm like, okay, well, I already know exactly what's going to be here. It's just a copy and paste of the last 5 islands.
There's no reason to do these things other than getting like pelts from animals and a bit of money. That's it. That's
why I don't know. It's when you look at games like The Witcher. I don't know if you've ever played The Witcher 3.
I haven't played it, but I know of it.
Whenever you go to a new area, there's always something new. It's always going to be either a cutscene or a chest that has some like little note in it or something, or just environmental storytelling. You see somebody with like a sword through them that's like holding on to something, and then you can kind of put the pieces together. You can tell what happened there, and it's always interesting, like walking into a cave or like hitting an island or something in The Witcher 3. In Assassin's Creed 4, it's just like, okay, let me get more money so I can upgrade my ship and then go out into the sea and have fun, because like that's the funnest thing in the game. For Nassau, I care about Nassau because I'm a pirate fan, but as a fan of video games, it's just another island, you know? Like there's nothing really drawing me here. Like these characters could have, and I know that characters can carry a game. There are countless games out there that just the characters alone and their interactions with you and with each other are what make the game golden. Red Dead 2 comes to mind. Like immediately, like you can, like fans of the Red Dead series can name every single member of the Vanderlyn gang. With Assassin's Creed 4, I wish it had that sense of hey, these characters matter. You know, these are actual people. It sucks because there's just enough of that in the game to make me want more. But then that's it, you know?
My favorite character in the game is Anne. And we barely see anything of her. The only reason why I like her is because she's a woman who becomes the first mate, the quartermaster. And that's cool. Yeah. I think that's like one of the coolest things, period. Yeah, James, the kid is a woman who pretends to be a man, to be a pirate, respectively. But that's not enough for me. And Blackbeard is cool. That's just a figurehead. That's just an icon. That's just like, oh look, everybody, Blackbeard, the legend, he's here. That's like if we have an Assassin's Creed game in like London, England, in late 1800s, early 1900s, or whatever, and they add Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's Sherlock. It's Sherlock. You know that name. It's a household name. Buy our game. That's it. That's what I think that they're doing with Blackbeard here. Still, I would want a pirate game that is within the time frame of Blackbeard's reign to feature Blackbeard. I want that. But that's not enough. That's expected, you know?
That's expected. Like Blackbeard should be a character in this game. Here's the thing though. I feel like I am looking forward to the remake. If that is real, these are just rumors at this point.
Is it a remake or remastered, or doesn't matter?
No. Oh, there's a difference. A remaster would just be taking the same exact game and then just upping everything.
They're not doing that.
But No, it's supposedly it's a remake, which is essentially you're making a new game.
Yeah.
You're starting from scratch. However, you're just modeling it after the game that was already made. So it's going to be the same characters and the same story overall and stuff like that. But it's just a rumor floating around. Well, as of recording, it's just a rumor because Ubisoft Singapore, which is the same studio that made Assassin's Creed 4 and the same studio that made Skull and Bones, is working on another Assassin's Creed title. And it looks like they're using the same assets that they used in Skull and Bones. Which, I mean, the ship mechanics that they used in Skull and Bones were the same ones. They just recycled it and polished it from Assassin's Creed 4, which is not the first time they did that. They used the same exact ship mechanics and even gameplay from Assassin's Creed 4 into Assassin's Creed Rogue. Rogue is just a reskin of Assassin's Creed 4, essentially. You know? So they want to get their money's worth out of this like ship thing, and they know that people will buy Assassin's Creed 4, so that's what they're doing.
Because the gaming industry is very deprived on good pirate games.
They are. And this is the reason why I'm excited for a remake of Assassin's Creed 4 and not just another pirate game, although I would love another pirate game. It's because Blackbeard himself, in every other medium that, you've seen him, like you said, he's the legend. He's Blackbeard. He's this like super imposing figurehead. But if you pay attention, in Assassin's Creed 4, he's not really that. I mean, he kind of shows that when during cutscenes to his enemies and stuff, but he's not. He's just a guy. He's a guy that Edward is friends with. He's a guy that Edward jokes with. When you're in his retirement party, he's laughing with Edward, not because he's like putting on a show or because he's talking about how many people he's killed or how many prizes he's taken.
By the way, this is Blackbeard's retirement party in his own private island.
Yeah.
Why do we only get like a 2-minute cutscene of like Edward arriving or whatever? They're having cut to them like at the table enjoying a few drinks or whatever, joking, and then immediately interrupted by Edward seeing like this Templar dude who wants to sabotage or whatever, the invasion of the island. I feel like that was very abrupt. I didn't like that. I wish there was like more of the celebration of Blackbeard retiring and stuff, but no, I'm sorry. I think I'm just rehashing the same thing.
No, you used the perfect word, abrupt. The game felt like a lot of the parts of the game felt very abrupt.
Yeah.
That's it. There's a mission early on where after you first get the cove that becomes like Edward's Cove that has like a mansion and stuff like that.
Right.
Where Edward, he's like he's like lying down on this palm tree, and Kid comes up and like wakes him up, and they talk about, this island could have a lot of cool things, Kid, just if you find anything, just let me know. And Kid goes
immediately follows him.
Immediately. I mean, it says follow James Kidd. Yeah. And if you don't start running, sprinting after him right then and there, it'll be like your target is getting too far away. Mission failed.
Yeah.
How? What?
We just told him to let us know. What do you mean?
Yeah. Like, what do you? This is the type of thing that I like. This is what I mean when I say the game felt unfinished. It feels like there's a lot of like small little corners that were cut.
Yeah.
Like it feels like something else was supposed to go in there.
Which is weird because there's so much content in this game. DLC, there's like 3 DLC stories, one of them revolving Blackbeard, but still. Yeah. And it still doesn't feel complete.
It still feels like, here's the thing, the DLC, none of the DLC that exists for the game, well, actually, sorry, that's a lie. There is one piece of DLC that exists that actually adds cutscenes and missions and stuff like that, and that's the Adewale DLC.
Yeah, when you're saving slaves from plantations.
Yeah. And which takes place a couple of years later, and it's like Adewale is an assassin. I played it. It's pretty cool. It's short, but it's fun. It's sweet. It's cool.
It's adding more dimension to a character already pre-established.
Yep.
That was already kind of cool.
I think it's great. I think it's great. It is a DLC done right. It felt like old-timey DLC, like back in the day. So every other piece of DLC, and I can't name every single one of them, but here's some that I'm aware of. There are 3 DLCs for the main story, which are, one of them, all 3 of them are go to this island, collect everything on the island, and you get an outfit, a set of swords, and a pistol. It is Francis Drake's outfit swords and pistols. Captain Morgan's outfits, swords and pistols, and then a third one I can't remember. They're cool looking outfits, but that's it. That's the DLC. Then the one that you were talking about, which was like the Blackbeard DLC, it's multiplayer. It's a multiplayer skin pack. It's a multiplayer skin pack, and they have like 3 of those. A Blackbeard one, this one called the Jaguar, which is like this really cool looking dude, and then another one with like some other lady. I don't know. It's whatever. That's it. That's the extent of DLC. The game. I don't know. I wish that this episode should just be called "I Wish Assassin's Creed 4 was this instead of this," because I genuinely do. It hurts. It hurts that this game isn't what it could have been. Like I play it right now and I still have fun, but I can't continue after a certain point because I'm just like, okay, like the pirate stuff is over, and now it's just going to be like speed run Assassins nonsense that they should have been doing from the beginning.
It feels like we're just trying to get the assassin stuff that's on each island over with, like the story stuff over with, so we can get back on the ship, sail, and sing sea shanties. That's honestly, what I feel like this game is.
That's what it feels like that a lot of the time. It genuinely feels like that.
Just getting through the missions so we can continue sailing. That's it. Which is, again, the best part of the game.
It's super fun. I cannot express how fun it is to get on your ship and then have them like singing, and then you see another ship and you take over it and you either press them to service or destroy it or send it to your fleet, and then back on the ship, back to singing. Oh, there's a whale there. Okay, let's do some whaling.
That reminds me. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, the second to last mission, I think, where you're fighting Roberts or whatever his name is, and you're attacking his man of war. You bring it down, and you're supposed to board and kill him, right?
Yes.
I think I texted this in the group chat. The way I handled it, I shot him with a cannonball from the side of the ship, from the side of the jackdaw. So the hardest part was getting to board, and while we were boarding, it says, kill Roberts or whatever. So I'm like, okay, there's the reticle or like the target symbol. I just gotta aim over it. Boom. Cutscene. He would have been splattered, but no, there's just like a stab wound with some blood here. What?
The game intends for you to board the ship and get into a fight with him. And this is another thing that I've noticed. The game, I don't know if it did this on purpose or if these are just things that they forgot to polish, but you can actually park your... There's a lot of parts in the ocean where there are either frigates or man of wars just stationary.
Yeah.
You can park your jackdaw just out of their field of vision, hop down, swim over, get on top, kill everybody on board, hop back into the jackdaw, and then shoot it once, and then it's like it'll be like boarding complete.
Oh, I wish I knew.
No, the game has one safeguard against this, which is if you get too close while swimming, somebody up top the ship will start shooting at you, but all you got to do is dive. Yeah. And even though you have like an oxygen bar, the second you can just it refills like that.
Yeah.
Most games like once your oxygen is low, you have to come up and wait for it to refill. No, it refills the second you come up. So they'll shoot, you come up, go back down. Full. Shoot, go back down, and then that's it. They just get on top of the thing, clear it, and then you're done. You just got a man of war.
That's hilarious.
That's what I mean when I say it feels unfinished. It's not like it's an unfinished game.
Yeah.
As in, it's got a lot of glitches, but it's got a lot of things where it's like, okay, the more
there's a lot of exploits.
Yeah, hella exploits, way too many. You don't have to fight anybody if you can just air assassinate them. It's over.
That's true. Yeah,
and that part like that is so broken. I had no idea. Like I hadn't done that. What you did with Roberts, I hadn't done that in any of them. But there are a lot of missions where it's like, okay, I just finished, like got the ship thing done. Now you have to go onto the ship and fight and kill this person. Nah, just shoot him with
that's like the main way I boarded and took over most of the ships I fought. Just by shooting by like the side cannon or whatever.
Shoot the side cannon. And it's funny because a lot of them are like the smaller ships are like, oh, you only need to kill 10 people. You can kill like 5 of them with the thing. Yeah. Or if you shoot like one of the red barrels, you can get like you can get them all. You can just get them all.
It's hilarious. I'm glad it's there. I'm glad like it's not a complaint. It's just hilarious that you can do that.
It's really fun.
But like again, go ahead.
No. I mean, the boarding is fun for a lot of ways because there's a lot of different, angles that you could take it from. There's that one, right? But there's also, I mean, you could also just board normally and then fight them, but then you could go up top. Right? You could get on top of your own rafters and then jump from yours to there. Yeah. And most ships will have like 2 people on top shooting. If you can just kill one of them, get his gun, shoot the other one, and then just glide down and like kill the people down there, like you're golden. Like there's so many ways to attack to like kill the people on the other ship, and it's fun. It's always fun. Yeah. It does not get old. It does not get old.
Speaking of, I never once upgraded any of my weapons. I never felt the need to. So really? Yeah, I went through the entire game with basic, like your default swords and gun and hidden blades. No problem.
Okay, I don't believe you can. I don't know. I don't think you can upgrade your hidden blades, but yeah, there's a lot of swords and pistols that have different. Wow, not once?
No, not. Only like the required time where you have to in the very first mission. Right, at the very
beginning, because you don't have anything, right?
Yeah, but I never like gotten any new ones because I'm like, I'd rather save the money for the jackdaw or whatever. Fair. And weirdly enough, I didn't find this out till late in the game, but like 80% of the game, I was doing my fights, like combat, with the hidden blades, which isn't ideal because I then later found out using the swords is more efficient. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Oh, because you didn't, the cross?
Yeah, I just forget.
The cross you didn't find out about,
No, I knew about it, I just forgot because I'm like, I have blades.
Yeah, have blades, no. Fighting with the blades is cool, but I'm always with the swords. Swords are fun. They look cool, they sound better, and they are more efficient, yeah. The blades take a little bit longer to kill people. The swords, if you had bothered to upgrade them, they would... a lot of them turn into like just one-hit kills. Same thing with the guns. I mean, I don't know how often you use your guns. The guns are just kind of, for me, they were a get out of, like, if I'm surrounded by people, I would just spam the quick shoot, and I was able to like get a breath and then, run out and start over.
That reminds me. The worst fight in the entire game for me, because I'm the guy who didn't upgrade my weapons.
Okay.
The guy in armor. Do you remember that guy in the fort?
El Tiburón, yes.
I absolutely hated that fight. One, because like I would unload my guns into him, run out of ammo. It will barely do damage, so he's like halfway down. And then I have to access the ammo boxes, I have to de-aggro him for some reason.
Yeah.
And I guess the game was being glitchy because I was like upstairs, he was downstairs, I was hit. I couldn't hide in anything because the game was like, no, he sees you. I'm like, what? Yeah. It took 20 minutes for him to de-aggro for some reason. And then I got to finally like restock, and then finally it sucked. And that could be a me problem, but it shouldn't be a problem in the game anyways. I don't know.
No, the game has a very set mechanic when it comes to fighting. And then it tried to introduce a new type of enemy, which was him, way late, and he's just a bullet sponge. And
literally.
Literally. And you can't get too close to him because then he's just gonna wreck you. So, and I can't remember, does he like block all of your attacks immediately?
He like counters, blocks, hits you back,
Crazy ones, Oh no, the annoying enemies were the brutes. That not only would they block your attacks, but if you tried to counter them, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And if you're in the middle of a kill streak and then you go to them, they would just grab you and headbutt you, and break your like. The only way to do it is to get them from the back or to break their
defense.
Their defense, right? Which is difficult to do when you're surrounded by other people. And the game will just target whoever it wants to.
Yep.
Not who you're trying to fight. Yeah. El Tiburón. I can't remember how I did that. I think it was probably just that. It was a mix of shooting and running. And yeah, the game does you do need to like be out of combat in order to interact with things like ammo boxes, which makes no sense.
It was so dumb. It was so frustrating. I absolutely did not enjoy that part because it took too long. Ugh, yeah.
I did see a video on YouTube where somebody found the most creative way to kill him, which was, so you know how sometimes you run up to ropes and Edward gets on them and cuts something and it just zips him all the way up because the weight comes back down?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
I see what you're saying.
In this video, right, this person was running away from El Tiburón. He gets into one of those things, and then the cutscene plays where Edward cuts the rope, grabs onto it, the rope pulls him up, but then the weight, as it comes back down, it falls on El Tiburón.
That's
and then
hilarious.
He just died immediately. I didn't know that the game could do, like, I don't know that that was like a mechanic in the game that, like, if an enemy was underneath that, it would take damage.
Yeah.
And it killed him in like one shot, which was insane. So that was pretty fun. Also, in your, I don't know if my game is glitched, but when you were fighting him, he used full armor, right?
Full armor. Except the head, I think.
But when you killed him and he, like, you're having that conversation with him, was he naked for you too?
What?
Well, okay, not naked, but he wasn't wearing armor for me. He was just like in a red kind of uniform.
I'm checking.
Yeah, because I don't. For me, when I killed him, and this happens every time, he just doesn't show up in armor. Honestly, that is crazy. Like historically speaking, that's crazy armor to be wearing in the 18th century. Like, where did he even find that?
Okay. Yeah, armor, and then death, and he's wearing like red pajamas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's not naked.
Not the only one. No, he's not. He's not naked. That's not what I meant. Like naked. No, that's not what I meant. But yeah, he's
armor gone.
Armor gone for some reason. I don't know.
Weird.
Well, I have heard good things about the novelization of that game, though.
Yeah.
I haven't read it myself, but I have listened to excerpts of the audiobook, and it does give not only Edward but the other characters a lot more depth.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All of the, well, up until Origins, I believe, maybe the newer ones too, but I can't confirm. Up until that one, at the very least, to my knowledge, all of the Assassin's Creed games have a novelization.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that this one, like this particular one, is Edward telling his story to his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, like, your daddy was a pirate. This is how my life went, you know?
Some more problems I talked to you about through text that I had, and I'll go through it quickly. But a problem I didn't mention this, and this is like universal for Assassin's Creed. I didn't mention this in the last episode, but the movement, actually like running and walking and all that stuff, and climbing and jumping, it's very sensitive within all the games, like hypersensitive. Like the slightest like directional input you do on the controller, you'll go and like you'll run, right? Like there are many moments where I'm running chasing someone, and I'm running past like one of those shacks where you get to hide into, and more often than not I jump into one of those shacks, and then I'm like trying to get out, but he's like trying to climb it now, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? It's annoying. I hate. It's a double-edged sword. I like that it's super responsive, but also it fights you more than it helps you throughout the series.
Too responsive.
Yeah.
That is an issue with all Assassin's Creed games, or most of them. Yeah. Sometimes the game knows what you want to do, so it's a lot of the steps are set up because it's like, okay, this is the only direction you could take, so you jump from here, then you jump there, and you jump there, and you jump there. But sometimes in the zigzags, you'll just jump from one to the other, and then from that one right off the building onto the floor.
Yep.
This even happened to me a couple of times where I was on the synchronization point.
Yeah.
And every synchronization point either has a hayloft or the water underneath, and you jump and you eagle the thing and you land onto it.
Leap of faith.
I think like the leap of faith. But 2 or 3 times when I jumped off the synchronization point, he didn't do the pose, and I'm like, uh-oh. And he just jumps straight down and hits the floor. Thankfully, they're not as high, these points, as they are in other Assassin's Creed games, so he didn't really die.
That's fun.
But he took some crazy damage. Like his legs are definitely broken. Yeah.
And my other complaint, which is still controls, is I think because I spent months playing the Arkham games, and I'm so used to how stealth sections, predator sections work in those games. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag as if I'm playing Arkham Knight.
Arkham, right? Big problem.
There are plenty of times where I'm like in a bush or whatever, and I'm whistling a dude to come by, and I'm pressing X, and it doesn't do what I want it to do, and I alert everyone, and then I gotta reset or something, and it sucks, and I hate like moving through stealth sections because there's no crouch button. You're only crouching while you're in like tall grass or whatever, and as soon as you leave, as soon as you step out of the patch, you stand up immediately. Everybody sees you. You gotta run, and then you gotta hide again. If there's a crouch button, the majority of stealth sections will improve dramatically.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense where you're like tailing somebody and you're supposed to be quiet, but then you're just sprinting from bush to bush.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just walk right behind them because I don't know when they're gonna turn, and if you wait in a bush too long, the game will start desynchronizing. But every time they're about to turn around, they stop for a moment.
Yeah.
And that lets you know, hey, they're about to take one more step forward and then turn around. So I just followed. I started following them until it was time to turn around. In the situations where you're following them and there's like other people around, you can't really do that because people will see you.
Yeah.
But it's hard to. I like the way Eagle Vision works because it keeps them highlighted. So sometimes the best thing to do is to ignore the bushes and just go straight into the buildings.
Yeah. And
it still stays highlighted. So that, I'll give them props there, but I don't know. It's for a stealth game, it didn't really master stealth.
Right. It's so weird that for the title being Assassin's Creed, the assassin stuff isn't as polished, but like the pirate stuff is sick. Which
should have been a pirate game.
It really should have. Like I'm glad we still have those Assassin's Creed sections, but if it's just a little bit polished, like the entire game will be perfect. But it's like, for me, it's like a good 7 in general. But if you take out the assassin stuff, it bumps it up to like an 8.5 or a 9. Because again, honestly, singing sea shanties, that's
super fun. A super fun game. The sea shanties. Which one was your favorite, Jared?
Oh, I was very happy. I was actually, when was this? Last night? Yeah, last night I watched a video going through all the sea shanties, and I'm very happy that Drunken Sailor was included because you got to.
Of course.
I absolutely hated. This isn't the question you asked, but I absolutely hated Bully in the Alley. Cheerly Man I didn't like. Johnny Boker. Johnny freaking Boker. I absolutely hate that song. It's so bad, and like I didn't make the effort to like go and get every sea shanty, but that's like one of the defaults, I think, and you would hear that a lot. I got sick and tired of it, man. But my favorite, the only one I can really remember is Drunken Sailor. So I was really happy to hear that. What's your favorite?
My favorite. Well, obviously I like Drunken Sailor. There's another one called Roll Boys Roll. Mm-hmm. That sounds. It's like the epitome of what a sailor song should be. I feel like if I was working in a ship, that's the song that I would want to be singing. And the chorus is very very sailory, very piratey too.
Yeah.
But there's another one called Running Down to Cuba, which the lyrics are kind of funny. Those two, Roll Boys Roll and Running Down to Cuba, those have to be my favorites.
Okay. I hope that I can find instrumental versions of all these shanties so I can just put it as the background music for this episode.
Man, I don't doubt that they exist. They're probably out there somewhere.
Yeah.
There's, what they do have instrumentals of? the tavern songs.
Mm-hmm.
If you bet like the shanties and the tavern songs are different, like they're two different playlists, I guess, in the game.
Right.
If you go into any tavern, there's always like a woman or a man singing, and then there's the people in the background with the instruments.
Yeah.
And in the game, if you point a gun at somebody, that particular person will get scared and they'll either cower or run away, but they'll stop doing whatever they're doing. So if you walk into a tavern, there's the person singing, and then there's the band. If you point the gun only at the person singing, that person will stop singing, but the band will keep on going. And sometimes like it just spawns that way where there's like the band is playing, but there's nobody singing, and it's just the instrumental of the tavern song, with like an occasional little like chorus sang very lightly. You'd have to I'd have to show you. I'll show you. I'll see if I can get a I don't know if that exists out there on the internet. It's just something I noticed because I've played the game a gajillion times.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's cool. Anything else we want to say about Black Flag before we
I want to talk about the ending. How did you feel about the ending?
If you mean the final mission, very underwhelming.
Yeah.
It's revisiting a place you already did, but now there's like traps, but the traps don't really matter to you. It was a very easy thing to climb. Like, first of all, avoid the guards. That's a very easy thing to do. You're climbing up the walls. Okay, great. And you eventually come up to this perching point, and all you have to do is press X, and you jump, and you kill the dude, and that's it. It's anticlimactic. It's very underwhelming. Funny enough, I failed the first time because I didn't understand the timing. I didn't understand that the lights actually hurt you. So I found that out the hard way. And
running right through them, yeah?
No, not running. Like, I made it all the way to the end.
You're climbing, and then, yeah.
I made it all the way to the end, to the very top. I'm about to kill the Cuban guy, and I get blasted by the light. I get blinded by the light. So I had to do it again. I'm like, okay, now I actually have to time it. And then it just made it feel more anticlimactic.
It's funny that you made it all the way through without realizing the lights hurt you, because there's a point where you're supposed to be climbing and the lights are coming out of the crevices and they could cut you in half or hit you. So like you just luckily avoided all of them.
I actually did. Yeah.
That's insane, actually. Wow.
But like, if you're talking about the cutscene after that, I thought it was good. It was a good ending for Edward, not for me, because I didn't give a shit about anything.
Fair.
Or at least not as much as I should have, because of the reasons we've already complained about. Like, for Edward, it's a great ending. I was actually surprised that on the ship was his daughter, not his wife. You know, that was actually a surprise. And I really liked during the credits that you were sailing and you can actually control the jackdaw.
Yeah.
Doing that.
I like when games do that.
That's the only time while sailing actively and having a passenger talking and them having a conversation where I was actually, I can actually pay attention to this now.
There's no way to crash.
Yeah.
It is just, you're not even really moving. I think it's just the waves. I don't know. I thought it was very bittersweet because I've played the game so many times. It feels a little more poignant for me.
Yeah.
Edward giving them the island, the assassins. I feel like that was a good ending for the assassins. You know, it was a good way for him to make up for what he had done.
Yeah.
It only took him the entire game. But then, when he sits down to Anne Bonny and he's like, hey, I'll be going back to England. Do you want to come with me? And she declines. I thought that was kind of sad, but it was more bittersweet than sad. And then she starts singing, and Edward sees like the ghosts of his friends. Half of those were his friends. The other were a traitor, a crazy man, and then the dude that stole his ship.
Pirates,
exactly. He's not really reminiscing the loss of his friends. He's mostly just reminiscing the loss of his lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that was poignant for me. When he saw his daughter come out of come from the ship, I was also confused the first time around, but then I did some digging in the wiki, and supposedly like the letter that he gets at the end after he kills the governor, it's that his wife died. And then wait, I think the daughter mentions it too.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she was sick or something. But I got teary-eyed the first time. It was like the first time though, because he picks up the flower and he kneels down and he gives it to the little girl, his daughter that he didn't even know he had. That was that tugged that tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. Quite a tug. And plus Anne Bonny singing in the background. I was just like, oh my god, stop. It's okay, all right. Like, she knows the game is over.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed characters know that they're in a video game. I'm continuing with this tinfoil. They know.
Yeah. It was a cool end credit cutscene with seeing Haytham, right?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That's true.
Nice way to tie it all together.
Little Haytham. And it's in Assassin's Creed 3, he actually does talk about that. He's when he's watching the play, he gets asked, it's like, oh, have you ever seen this one? He's like, oh, I don't remember much. My father used to take me when I was younger. And then it was this.
Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. That's a cool full circle moment.
Yeah, it's at the very beginning of Assassin's Creed 3 when you do your first assassination and he's in the opera house.
Oh, something I completely forgot about, which is a good thing. And I guess it's fitting that we're doing it at the very, 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 very end of this this episode.
No.
The present day section, the modern day sections, they sucked.
Yeah, they were garbage. They were bad.
I'm happy that there are barely any.
Yeah.
But the stuff we did get, you walk, you press a button, and you walk back. You solve a puzzle. And that's it.
That's it. It was the most engaging part of the entire modern day segment was finding out that Roberts was the tech guy.
Yeah.
And then that's it. It's at the very end, and then he gets shot.
So like
whatever.
All right, and all right. So Juno has been released, and she decided to be inside of the Templars' computer, of all places. That's it.
She's like, hey, I'm gonna be AI.
But
did you notice?
Yeah.
Did you notice that in real life, artificial intelligence started kind of skyrocketing the year after that game came out? Just something I wanted to bring a light to. Chat GPT, character AI. I don't know. Novel AI, right? Okay.
Yeah, it felt like none of that meant anything. Again, adding stuff for no reason and not, making us care about it. Like, literally nothing happened.
No.
Nothing happened.
They freed Juno. Everything that he has you do is to free Juno, and she's freed only to go right back. And she's like, it's not time. It was the first game after Desmond died, and they needed a modern day segment. Yeah. But they didn't know what they didn't know what to do. So instead of introducing a new character or just scrapping the modern day completely, they said, hey, how about you're the modern day character and you walk sometimes.
You ride an elevator twice.
The elevator. Oh, of course, the elevator.
But yeah, Juno was supposed to take over your body or something.
Yeah, supposedly, I think the sage's plan was for Juno to go inside of you, and then you're the new host. But she said no.
And why? Oh.
I don't know. It's not time.
What?
It's not time yet.
I don't.
Why isn't it time? Only Juno knows.
If Ubisoft was smart, they'll just scrap the modern day stuff. Like they'll just have a game to finally wrap it all up. Because I have no idea what's going on now in Odyssey, Valhalla, Mirage, or whatever the hell the latest game is.
I don't know. They have a new protagonist.
Yeah.
I think they went to the desert and then they're in a house. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They should finally put an end to this modern day stuff and just make Assassin's Creed games that are in those time periods again.
Or maybe if you want to keep the modern day stuff, just have it at the very end. Just have the whole game run its course. And then at the very end, just a cutscene of the person coming out and then just shoot the exposition at us, and then that's it.
Yes.
I mean, that's essentially what's happening anyways. You're just like spreading it out. Let's just be honest with ourselves for a second, okay?
I agree. But even though we've been complaining about a lot of things about Assassin's Creed 4, I think it's safe to say that, you know, we're coming from a place where, like, we like a lot of stuff about this game, except the things we said, but because of the things we like, we wish for it to be better.
It's not, yeah.
If you just want, audience, if you just want a real good pirate simulator that's not Sea of Thieves, because that's shit, or Skull and Bones, play Black Flag. If you're a pirate fan, if you like Pirates of the Caribbean at least, play this game. You're literally a pirate in the Caribbean.
You will love this game if you like Pirates of the Caribbean. It has, even if you don't know anything about Assassin's Creed, it still has that air of mystique, and supernatural that Pirates of the Caribbean has, but it still manages to keep it grounded. And it's got pirates out the wazoo.
Yeah, and a really cool completionist bonus for doing everything in the game. You get a cheat where it allows you to turn your crew of the Jackdaw into invincible, unkillable skeletons.
Yeah,
pirate skeletons, which is total. What's that movie? Black Pearl. It's total Pirates Black Pearl.
Curse of the Black Pearl. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you get Blackbeard, you get skeletons, you get the things, you get the pirate stuff you want. You just gotta sit through the in-between bits of main story missions of doing assassin stuff.
It's very, look, the overall, it is a very fun game to play.
Yes.
Video games are meant to be played, and this is one of the funnest games that I've played, period.
Yep.
If you enjoy collectathons, you will enjoy this game too. It has a lot of things to collect, but also incentives to collect them in ways that kind of reminisce of old PlayStation 2 titles, where you unlock little things like cheats and stuff, where you can change the weather, or make Edward talk in like pirate, or just be perpetually drunk, or just give yourself like the highest wanted level, or just completely erase your wanted level, or at the very end turn everybody into skeletons, the undead.
And this is the first Assassin's Creed game I've ever played to the end, and wow. I don't think I can go back to the previous 6 or 5, whatever. I don't know if I can go back, or if I want to.
I mean, that's a hell of an endorsement. We spent a lot of time, let's call it constructively criticizing this game, because it was never my intention, mine at least, to bash it or shit on it.
Yeah.
It was just I was having a talk with my son this game about his performance in school and how I believe that he can do better. Your father and I are not mad. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, we're just disappointed.
You had great potential. You did great things. You got some A's, but you got a lot of D's.
You got a lot of D's. Not fan. I'm gonna have to take away your. What was the game console in 2013?
The 360?
360 and PS3? Yeah, it was still 360. Yeah, I'm taking away your 360, bro. I'm just changing the Wi-Fi password and not telling you.
Oh no, you can't play the multiplayer. Oh no. Please don't, Dad.
No, please, nothing but that.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode here on the Razzle Dazzle Show. Please let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet, and make sure to follow us on Instagram at Razzle Dazzle Show, on TikTok at Razzle_Dazzle_Show, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Raz_Daz_pod. Be sure to leave us 5-star ratings and a nice little written review down below, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises early in the morning. What will we do with a drunken sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises, early in the morning. Put 'em in the scuppers with a hose pipe on 'em. Put 'em in the scuppers with a hose pipe on 'em. Put 'em in the scuppers with a hose pipe on 'em. Early in the morning. Way up she rises. Way up she rises. Way up she rises. Early in the morning. Put him in the brig until he's sober. Put him in the brig until he's sober. Put him in the brig until he's sober. Early in the morning. Way up she rises. Way up she rises. Way up she rises. Early in the morning.
That was good.
Next time on The Razzle Dazzle Show.
I did have a very sweet and patient friend of mine play through Metroid Other M when it came out, just so I could experience the game because I had no skill. I tried to play it, but I could not get past the demo mode. So I was like, I gotta bring in the pros. I gotta bring in the experts. So we would just, like once a week have these little playthrough sessions, and we did. We got through all of it, and that was fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I know there's you can just like watch the cinematics.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to hear those effort noises like throughout the game. I was particularly proud of my lava death screams. So like whenever we're in the lava levels, I was like, no, just like jump in there, just jump off the thing. So I did get to experience that game, but I felt like it would be a little too much to ask to be like, could you play every Metroid game so I can watch it?
Tune in next week.